Thank you guys all for being here today, again, to remember and pay tribute to those who served this great country. So my name is Mark Conley. I'm a member of the Norfolk Lions and somebody who's had the privilege to be a small part of helping to put this ceremony and the donation drive together for this great cause. So we have a very brief but special ceremony like we do every year today. And as in past years, I'm pretty humbled by the people that I'm up here with, who you'll meet shortly. But before I introduce everybody, I just first wanted to sincerely thank, there's a lot of people not here, and I thank you guys for being here, but all the people and the businesses of Norfolk for what really is just an overwhelming response. We've done this now for the first time 2 years in a row. And the generosity is, to me, extremely impressive for our small little town. And again, for this great organization, the Fisher House, which I think most people know about and you'll hear more about here shortly. But I'll wait for the big reveal in terms of what our donation totals are here till the end. But in the interim, just for right now, I want to encourage everybody. I know you can't read it from where you're sitting, but we're going to have, this is a donor board sitting in front of me here that is a listing of all the generous donations of the donors and their corresponding heartfelt tributes to the loved ones who have served. So it's alphabetical. We're going to have it posted in the library for a couple of weeks, so I encourage everybody to check it out because it's very impressive. There's a corresponding online download too, and sometimes our lines are technically challenged, but we try to get everything uploaded online as well. We had to do a cutoff for printer, so if you don't see your name, feel free to reach out and we'll track it down. But so appreciate that. So now we'll get this thing started, and I'll shut up. But it's my pleasure. I want to introduce again one of the best human beings that I know. So anyway, it's a meaningful day. But so Jen DeLuca, who is the executive director of the Fisher House of Boston, and by the way, a 2023 recipient of the Citizens Honors Service Act Award, a very select and well-deserved honor from the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. Just so well-deserved, and she's as humble as the day is long, so she's not going to talk about it, so I needed to. So anyway, without further ado, the Executive Director of the Fisher House and Norfolk resident, Jennifer DeLuca.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon to everyone. First, I want to thank our incredible town. It is amazing to me what this community does for others, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Normally, you'd think I'd stand up here and talk all about Fisher House today. I want us to remember the reason why we're here, and I had the privilege this morning of sitting in and watching a Zoom that General John Kelly was doing, a public announcement. And for those of you who don't know who John Kelly is, John was the White House Chief of Staff, 40 years in the military, and the highest ranking military member who lost a son in combat. And John is a personal friend of mine. So as he was addressing the public this morning, I was writing notes, just things that I think as we go out today and you all have barbecues this weekend, we have to remember the true reason that we are here. So I just want to say a few things from his speech this morning that most of you have no idea what happens when a loved one has been killed in combat. And what happens is a casualty officer sits in front of your home and waits until a light goes on. And if that light goes on at 4:30 in the morning, as it was with John and Karen Kelly, they knock on the door at that time and they break your heart at that moment. And it is never the same because they are delivering the worst news imaginable. Who are these young men and women? They are the best 1% that this country produces. Those that voluntarily raise their hand and say that they will die for this country, that they will serve this country, and they don't even know you. We owe them more than we could ever repay. So where does the Fisher House fit in all of this? I have been lucky enough to be welcomed into many groups in DC and accepted through every branch of the military to serve those that come back from war, injured or ill. And now that the war has settled, we take care of those men and women and the injuries that they sustained from service. But not only from the last Afghanistan-Iraq war, we cover you from World War II right through till today. If you raised your hand and said you serve this country and you need medical care here in Boston, I promise you I will get you that care here in Boston from anywhere in this country. And that's what your donations do. Your donations make it that they don't have to worry about anything, because we feel they've already paid the price and they should be getting the best care that they should for any illness they have. I could not do this alone. I never take credit for what I do. I say I am a vessel that was given this gift to be able to serve this group of people. But it's because of people in the town of Norfolk and other communities that serve and support what we do, like groups like the Lions that have stood by my side since the first day we came up with this idea and have continued to follow through. So on behalf of all the branches of the military, every family that serves along the side of their loved one, every Gold Star family, and every men or women that gave their life for this country, I thank you all for your support for what we do. And let us remember them through this weekend as we celebrate and enjoy Memorial Day. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce a good friend, a man I met over 20 years ago when I moved here to Norfolk. And he has helped me in so many ways that it's too long to give a list. But please welcome Jim Lehan.
Gosh, not easy to follow that. Jen's work is just incredible. She's an inspiration to all of us, and I know firsthand how hard and dedicated she is to this project, and we just can't thank her enough. For me, it's a privilege to have an opportunity to say a few words. This is a very special day to me and to all of you, I'm sure. But I want to thank the Norfolk Lions. As a Lion, but more just all of the hard work that goes into this and this field of flags. It's not our first, and I'm confident it won't be our last. They do incredible work, not just here on Town Hill, but the Lions are a giving group of folks that constantly care about this community, and they deserve our thanks as well. But I do want to talk about what this day is and what these flags mean. This weekend, we honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, men and women, all citizen soldiers who answered the call without question or doubt. They did so to serve this nation. Today we not only honor those that have given their lives in service, but also those who have returned home and now need our support. These young men and women who have served so gallantly have done so because they chose to do so. They're called by choice to defend the nation and the very principles we all hold so dear. They're young men and women in the prime of their lives with futures yet to be defined. Yet they step forward of their own free will, believing without question or doubt and the very principles our ancestors did when they rose up as citizen soldiers to forge this great nation. We as a nation and we as a community have a contract with these brave young and women. This contract is binding to every man, woman, and child. We have a commitment that in their time of need, we will be there to serve them. That we will step forward of our own free will and care for them. Norfolk does not forget. There are memorials all over this community honoring our veterans. Several years ago, a young man, Adam Kennedy, came home to rest. It was a rainy, cloudy, not a very pleasant day. He came home to his final resting place here in Norfolk. Thousands of people stood on these streets. Most of them never knew Adam. Most of them never knew his family. Yet he came home draped in a flag. Flags like these flags. Every soldier that makes that sacrifice comes home dressed in our flag. When our embassy in the Middle East came under attack many years ago, Marines were sent in to rescue the staff. During that fight, 2 Marines went into an open area under heavy fire to retrieve our flag. One was severely wounded. When asked by a reporter why he went back under fire for the flag, he said simply, "That flag represents my country. I will never, ever leave it behind." We all know that during the Battle of 1812, a little-known poet, Francis Scott Key, was inspired by noticing that our flag was waving defiantly in the air as Fort McHenry was bombarded by the British, a battle the Americans eventually won. And from that poem came our national anthem with the famous words, "Our flag was still there." We're not a perfect country. We're not a perfect nation. But I firmly believe there is more good than bad in this world. And I believe there is more light than darkness. And the soldiers that have served us so bravely always seek that light, never see that darkness. We are a nation that is proud, and we should be honored that these young men and women serve us so gallantly as they do. On President Lincoln's memorial, the following words are engraved: "Care for him who shall have borne the battle." We must never falter in that commitment. We must always remember. Norfolk has always remembered. Our country needs to always remember. Just as the final words of the Declaration of Independence state, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. I want to thank the Norfolk Lions and their commitment to the Fisher House, and again, Jen, for the incredible work that you do, and may God bless the United States and all of the men and women who serve us so proudly. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Captain Benda, who was the former commander of probably the greatest warship ever made by the United States, the USS Constitution.
Well, greetings, everyone. Fellow veterans, distinguished guests, Mark, Jim, our police officers over here. Thank you, gentlemen. Commander John Benda, 76th Commanding Officer of USS Constitution. It's an honor to stand before you today on this Memorial Day, a day of remembrance and reflection. Back again in Norfolk for me for, I think, the 5th time at some sort of military-related event. Thank you for inviting me back. Love this town. I moved from Massachusetts, closer to my new duty station in Newport, Rhode Island. But I'm born and raised in Dedham, Massachusetts, lived in Holliston for the last 8 years. Love coming to Norfolk through my connections on USS Constitution and the great Jennifer DeLuca. Yes, one of the best people I know as well, of Fisher House, Boston. Thanks to all for being here. Thanks to the Lions Club for their efforts for putting this ceremony together and all these flags. I'm not going to lie to everyone. I had a pretty awesome job in the U.S. Navy right there in the Charlestown Navy Yard, telling 500,000 visitors annually the dramatic stories of victory from the age of sail that started 200 years ago. 33 naval battles, undefeated. Stories of heroism and leadership of the famous captains in our second war for independence, the War of 1812. Captains named Isaac Hull, William Bainbridge, and Stephen Decatur. Stories of our ingenious construction of the time, of white and live oak hull planking, sides as strong as iron that could not be penetrated by the British 24-pound cannon fire. But what made the iconic ship Constitution truly special was the indomitable spirit of her crew. 450 sailors then, in the 18th and 19th century, and 90 active duty sailors today. And those sailors are definitely what I miss the most about the job. Some veterans themselves already of enduring freedom and Iraqi freedom, deployed overseas in ships and squadrons for a month at a time. Part of that command's mission is also to tell the stories and to represent the 1.3 million men and women serving in uniform around the world right now. As a naval officer, I had the privilege of serving alongside some brave men and women on many big gray ships, but I was afforded in command a mission where I was not in harm's way, not over the horizon, asleep in my bed every night with my family. So it is with great humility that I stand before you today representing those 1.3 million service members forward deployed in harm's way tonight while we pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of our nation. I see some veterans out there. Where are my veterans at in the audience? Gentlemen, to all our veterans, thank you for your service. But as you know, like I do, today is not about us. I know you know this well also. The military is not a job. It's a profession of arms. It's a lifestyle, and it's not easy, and it's not for everyone. This profession has consequences to our families. Our children and spouses are serving their country just as much as those actually putting on a uniform. That is why Fisher House is so important to me, my crew, and everyone in uniform. Knowing that there are organizations like this back home and people like Jen, thank you again, Jen, and congratulations on your incredible recognition for the Medal of Honor Society. To take care of us and our families in time of need is extremely comforting and is as critical defending our freedoms and way of life as all the big gray ships out there. Families. Do we have any Gold Star families, family members in the audience? If there were any here or any that may be watching this on local TV, there's little that I can say to you except simply thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Not everyone comes back. When you join this profession of arms and you swear the oath to the Constitution, it starts to hit home just exactly what you're signing up for. Potentially the ultimate sacrifice for its defense. It is a lot to ask of a fellow American, but we do, and we will continue to ask, and young Americans will continue to step up voluntarily because someone has to do it. At my current command, Navy Leadership and Ethics Center in Newport, Rhode Island, we work to instill and reaffirm the Navy's values into current leadership at every rank in preparation for what will no doubt be the next big conflict, and to make sure even while in the fight, we are embodying and demonstrating the ethical values, morals, and ideals of the American people. So today, we gather to remember the fallen heroes who stepped up, fought, and didn't come home. We honor their courage and unwavering commitment to our nation's ideals. We remember the families they left behind who have also made great sacrifices in support of their loved ones' service. I did it last time and I did it again this morning. I walked up at the monument up there and the panels there to read the names of the local heroes, the Norfolk Honor Roll, from the nation's past conflicts. A lot of multiple names on there, multiple last names, multiple siblings in the same family. That is quite a bit of sacrifice. So many mothers and wives, husbands and fathers, extended family and friends do their duty every day to ensure their loved one is remembered. They carry on each day with pictures and vestiges of a life not fully lived. They carry on understanding that their sailor, soldier, Marine, airman chose this profession of arms and knowing they understood the potential of their death as a sacrifice for the sake of freedom. Our Gold Star families bear a burden that only they can really comprehend. The rest of us also have a duty. Be grateful. Be a good neighbor. For the rest of us, remembering them today is a good start, but why not every day? We can do that in the way we choose to live our lives. It is our responsibility as citizens to remember the nation's brave fallen men and women, but also remember the freedoms, appreciate the freedoms, enjoy the freedoms that they have secured for us. We are fortunate to live in a country where we can speak our minds and pursue our dreams without fear. These freedoms were won by others for us. Don't waste them. On Memorial Day, flag etiquette, tradition dictates the American flag is raised briskly to the top of the staff and then solemnly lowered to the position of half staff, but only midday. It is then raised to full staff for the remainder of the day. The half staff position, of course, symbolic of the more than 1 million men and women we've lost. But midday, that flag is raised. Their memory is raised by the living as a reminder we need to carry on, to be resolved, not to let their sacrifice be in vain, and to inspire the next generation to step up when it's their time. So as we enjoy this Memorial Day weekend, let us remember. Let us honor their memory by living our lives with purpose and meaning. Let us be grateful for the freedoms they have secured for us, and let us never forget the debt that we owe them. The hundreds of men who gave their life on the battlefield that is the decks of USS Constitution. The 405,399 who died in World War II. The 36,574 who died in the Korean War. The 58,000 9,220 who died in the Vietnam War, the 9,343 who died during the Persian Gulf, Iraqi freedom, and enduring freedom, the 13 sailors and Marines who died protecting Kabul airport on the last day of this country's longest war, for the 519 active duty service members who succumbed to suicide in 2022 alone. We are grateful. So thank you again to the great town of Norfolk and all the volunteers who planted these flags in honor of these men and women. We have the best military in the world. We have the best country in the world. Thank God. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Terrific. So, before we wrap up, I said there was a big reveal. So we just heard all the reasons that we're here today, but the town was so generous, like I mentioned, with the donations that happened. So what I'm pleased to present, and let me walk over here and get it. So I'll ask Jen to come up around the front, and we'll get a photo op from this obnoxious big check. But from the lines through the town of Norfolk, I'm happy to present the Fisher House of Boston with a check for $10,500.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
So again, thank you guys for being here again this morning. And just to wrap up, and I think I've used this quote before, but just why we're all here, and a quote that I'll share that I think we should all carry with us through Memorial Day weekend. Again, it's America, the home of the free because of the brave. So thank you guys for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day and weekend.